He's a prophet, by the way. But prophecy, it's something that most people are not used to, especially here in Australia. How are you able to cut across and pass your message across to the people out there?
Prophecy brings hope. Music is more of it's a comforting tool. Not to say that music doesn't bring hope. The reason why I like prophesying is that you're able to let people know that God is real. Whereas with music, you can confess it all you want, but if people don't feel it, they don't feel it. But if someone from nowhere can say, look, you're going through this, you're thinking about doing this, but you know, your auntie's from this town, your brother is just avoided this car accident, and it's something that only you knew. Whatever I say after that will give you the assurance that because he knew what God was telling him about my past, then I'm sure of what's happening in my future. So that's why I love prophecy. I don't often do it. The reason why I don't do it is because that then becomes the only thing people come to you for. Whereas with music, you can use that and you can still preach, you can still encourage, and people would never know. Up until you prophesy, and all of a sudden, wow, he's psychic. It's not that I'm psychic. I'm fortunate enough to be under a great man of God, Prophet Richard Amwaye, and I've seen from the time I got to meet him up until now where people would always be like, man of God, prophesy, but they didn't want any of the substance. But I want to be someone of substance. Use that substance to bring reassurance, and then finally, like, bring the ending to a fire, prophesying.
It's really good to see young people on fire for the Lord. And when you spoke yesterday, it was just very captivating. How much to push the word so people can hear it?
Oh, at all costs.
At all costs.
At all costs. I don't think I am for the big stages. I'm blessed enough to be on big stages, but I don't think that will determine my influence. In my later years, I hope to actually disciple people and do those one-on-ones where I can see someone who is deemed hopeless and then build them so they can become a helper to someone else. And I think in that, if I'm able to disciple 10 people, those 10 people disciple 1,000 people, I still contribute to that.
I think one question I was going to ask as well was how you came about the name Disciple as well.
It was the first name that came. I had no other name. I thought Rodney would be too tacky. But it's funny because now everyone's calling me Rodney instead of Disciple, and it's just like, oh, it's crazy. But that was just the first name that came, and then there was a band in the US that's called Disciple. But I didn't want to change my name, so I put the dots in between, and it became an acronym. So dedicated in serving Christ in preparation of living eternally. So that became my mantra. And so
you said you don't think you belong to the big stage. Well, you've got lots of national tours. Let's not run away from that. And you just recently won the best gospel artist in Sydney in July. That should be a testament to how much work you put in place, because a lot of people know what you do, and it's quite relevant as well. And let's talk about you and fashion as well. He's a prophet. He is a rapper. And he has a clothing line as well. Let's talk. I can't let you go without talking about it a bit. If we can have a bit of.
Well, this is actually not mine.
This is not yours.
I'm fortunate enough to have my own personal team. I have like a PA now, and I have a seamstress. Her name's Saval. So look out for her. It's a funny story with her because through prophecy, I was able to pick up that she was into fashion, but she didn't have an audience she could go to. And so God was testing me by saying, she will make your outfit for Emma. But she had not made any clothing for men. She had only made clothing like in the comfort of her room. So I told her, I'm like, look, this is the test. God's testing me. I haven't seen your work, but this is what I've been led to tell you to do. And I told her 2 months in advance. Some people close to me thought I was crazy. For a period, I thought I was crazy, but I remember saying, I saw blue, and she's going to make something for me. So time got close, and all my friends were like, we need to see some evidence, like, what's going to happen. Even Savar, who was making it, like, have you got anything else? I go, no, if it goes bad, that's what I'm wearing. So whatever you're going to make, I'm going to wear. And it turned out to be what you saw at Emma, the whole blue stuff. So I've hired her as my personal seamstress. But onto my clothing label. 2010, I experienced a lot of, let's say, persecution, particularly when I was studying music. I was the only gospel artist in my class, and I felt like it was unfair. I felt like I wasn't treated right, particularly when it came to my beliefs. And for some reason, God would always place me in a position where I'd be giving speeches in front of mayors and, government affiliates and stuff like that. And somehow, some way, everyone would try and stop me by saying, you can't talk about your religion. You cannot talk about your religion. Now, I understood why they said that, but when at one time I remember someone yelled out a derogatory comment in regards to someone's sexuality. The teacher yelled at everyone saying you have to be respectful about people's lifestyles and their beliefs and yada yada yada. I went for about 15 minutes. Now she was then asked a question and then she said OMG. Now everyone knows what OMG is. And I'm looking around the class like, did anyone else hear that or was it just me? And everyone just looked at that as normal. And I thought, this is a problem. How can someone have the freedom to live how they want to live? I have the freedom to believe what I want to believe. And so I then started saying, you know what? Even if it gets me expelled, I don't care. So the more they told me, don't talk about Jesus, the more I talked about Jesus. The more they said, don't talk about faith, the more I did it. So I'm like, okay, there's only so much I can do with my words.
So that would have been what inspired some of the inscription on one of the tops you... Yeah, can you tell us what the inscription is?
Sorry to break your theology. That was what I wanted to show people. And that would be, no matter where I am, if I can't speak, if you chop my arm off, if you chop my leg off, the message still stands. And it's just, sorry for being me, but more importantly, sorry for believing in something you don't. And it seems, and maybe it's just me, that Christians seem to cop more hate than any other religion in the world, for whatever reason. Muslims will be a close second with ISIS and all that stuff, but ISIS has nothing to do with the mainstream Muslim. But I think Christians cop a lot. Whenever you hear something about Christians, it's about scandal. You don't hear about their charity work. You don't hear about what they do for the community. You don't hear about how they funded universities and schoolings. You always hear about how this man of God slept with some kid or how they cheated on their wives. You don't hear about the substance. So I wanted to, if I were to go out or if I were to become a martyr, what would people remember me by? It would be, this dude under no circumstances compromised his faith. And I want to inspire believers to be like, you know what? Don't let the government, don't let the system push you down. Believe what you want to believe because they're doing it. Why can't you? That started in 2010 and it kept growing and growing and growing.
And if people wanted to get your clothing, how can they get it?
They can find me as the artist. They can find my my clothing page. I think it's Breaking Theology. We're on Facebook, or you can email bt_apparel@outlook.com. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. stbyt.com. Also, there's heaps of ranges and stuff there.
I don't want us to end with the fashion. I want us to go back to Christianity. Because you are just an example that you can be a young person in this day and age, worship God and still be relevant. What last words would you want to give out to every young person out there struggling to really represent themselves either in school, at their community areas?
I guess as bad as this may sound, Jesus always used something that the world hated or what the world rejected. And this morning I ministered at a church and I spoke about Ebola for like 15 minutes and how every person of African descent is looked at different because they may have Ebola or they come from a part of the world that's infected with Ebola. But when you see someone from the outside and you don't know what they're worth, you will treat them anyhow. That's what's within them. And so Jesus always found a way to get people who were rejected and made them prominent. He got a shepherd boy, made him a king. He got an old man, made him a father of many. He got a murderer and he became a deliverer. So Jesus will always use someone who everyone's counted out as a point of contact of hope. And why I'm saying this is because each one of those people who were used, one, they had the validation of Jesus, but then they came to a point where they believed in themselves. And so it's only when you come to a point where you believe in yourself, that's when you can start doing wonders. And if you can't get to a point where you believe in yourself, but you're relying on people to believe in you, you'll always be looking for attention. But when you know who you are, where you're going, what you want to be, no one can stop you.
That's it. When you know who you are, what you're what, nobody's going to stop you. I've just been having a chat with Rodney. Thank you so much. And I hope everyone out there has had a thing or two from my little chat with him. You can still be a Christian in this society in today and still be a functional youth.
Delight, 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 Delilah.